Here are the patch notes and details for Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader Update 1.0.88. Mac and both consoles are expected to receive the same patch within about 24 hours. Our next major patch is expected in January and will focus on more fixes for talents and items, balance, and quality of life improvements. Highlights: fixed a vast majority of broken quests and cutscenes that blocked progression or worked only for specific choices. Fixed many items and abilities that worked incorrectly. Fixed several desync cases for co-op. Updated conviction, reputation, and skill check values. Improved optimization and fixed a lot of crash cases on console. Added the missing names of our founders to the Shrine of Remembrance and credits. Please be aware of plot spoilers going forward in this video. System instability. Fixed a lag in the final encounter on console. Xbox only. Fixed multiple memory-related crashes. Added optimizations to improve FPS and reduce crashes on consoles. Additional optimizations for footfall on console. Closed some memory leaks in the UI windows. Equipping Reaper Cape item could cause lag, that's fixed. Fixed a crash after choosing arguing with you is pointless. Die, dialogue, option on Rykad Minoris. Fixed a crash when leaving Shard of the Holy World. Fixed a memory leak related to cover indicators in combat. Fixed multiple cases of crash to the main menu with the message no active Astar path object to bind to at. Fix some cases of lag caused by enemies incorrectly processing out-of-order turns. Fix the game freezing or showing a black screen after the arrival of Cassia into combat during a random warp encounter with Daemonettes. Optimize performance for Kimura Arena. Optimize performance of the initiative tracker on console and when playing with controller. Co-op. Fix desync at the colony screen. Player nicknames over characters could disappear after save load under certain circumstances. This is fixed. When changing character roles mid-turn, some abilities could become locked. This is fixed. Narrative. Added missing experience for completing the drifting void ship without combat. The Worm Churns quest now updates properly in the journal. Hieronymus no longer appears on footfall if he was killed. Added Corda's corpse if she was executed. In dialogue with Felic, option about Winterscale being dead will not appear if you saved him. You can no longer understand the Necrons in cutscenes if you haven't deciphered their language. Jade's gift event will now correctly summon the Lord Captain to the bridge. Urlet's cutscene at the beginning of Chapter 3 could break, that's fixed. A couple of events on Janus teleported the player to the Void Ship bridge instead of starting dialogue, leading to all kinds of oddities. This is fixed. A romance scene with Heinrichs in Act 4 could abruptly end. This is fixed. Added missing conviction tags and updated the lines in dialogue with Vladame about Corda. Added the special Lord of Footfall buff for gaining full control of Footfall in Act 4. Argenta's quest driven now completes correctly. Argenta's personal quest could fail from completion if the player ignored the rudeness of the orphan or chose the option to leave in the meeting with the orphans, which could cause her next dialogue to break. This is fixed. Companions on the bridge could become completely non-interactable and Janris Danrock could be missing from the bridge under certain circumstances. This is fixed. Dialogue with Riza and Octaviana no longer repeats multiple times. Failing a check in dialogue with Kaligos at Quetzaltemer could block the dialogue. This is fixed. Fixed a broken dialogue with Vinzelix. Fixed a bug causing dialogue with Cassia in the Anatomical Opera in Act 3 to break, locking her out of returning to the party. If this happened with you, you will need to go back to her location in order to make her join after this update. Fixed a case of dialogue breaking in Marzahai's second quest. Fixed a case of reprieve from Torment quest unexpectedly failing. Fixed a case where the player only received one ending slide after completing the game. Fixed a possible set of conditions causing a dialogue with Octaviana to abruptly end. Fixed an event where the High Factorum calls you to tell something about Jay, but nothing happens afterwards on the bridge. Fixed multiple minor cases of dialogue conditions being set incorrectly, causing secondary dialogue options to appear or disappear unexpectedly. Fixed remaining cases of broken dialogue in the Hunting Grounds quest in Quetzaltemer, which could get the player stuck. Fixed remaining issues with completion of a Stray quest, including for players who had the quest already stuck. Fixed some missing and draft strings. Fixed various visual and dialogue problems with the final romance event of Urlet. Fixed Urlet's quest The Path We Lost, breaking if you agreed to go together, but didn't take her in the party. Heinrichs no longer asked to complete the Secrets of the Cult quest when leaving Kiavagama, if the quest was already completed by that time. Adira now properly receives the item in the new portrait as a result of her personal quest. In Cassia's second quest, the quest destination is changed from Bridge von Valancius Void Ship to the Smaragdus Mundus system to make it more obvious. In some cases, romance event failed to trigger in Act 3 for Heinrichs, resulting in him never returning to the party. This is fixed. In the final conversation with Morin on Janus, in one of the possible dialogue endings, it was not possible to recruit Urliet and unlock her personal quest, Eldari in Distress. This is fixed. Jay never appeared after asking you to meet her on the bridge under some circumstances. This is fixed. Jay no longer reminds about her quest in Act 4 after it was already completed. Jay's quest Mercatum Tabula Official could become stuck unless the player chose the option to shoot the crowd. Otherwise, the clerk simply wouldn't appear. While that certainly fits the grimdark nature of 40k, it was never intended to be the only option, and the clerk will now appear properly for all options. You may need to return to the place if you had this problem and left the location. Let the cycle be discontinued had incorrect instructions in the journal and an additional naming error in Russian language. This is fixed. Marzahai's branding romance event could fail to start under some circumstances. This is fixed. Outcast duty quests may now be completed correctly. Rat hunting quests could fail to start under some conditions. This is fixed. Some cutscenes with companions and bridge officers in Act 4 could fail to start, blocking all further cutscenes from happening. This is fixed. Some of the epilogues could be blocked from being displayed if Ulfar's quest wasn't completed by the end of the game. This is fixed. The game no longer offers an option to ask about mercenaries in Act 3 if the player had none when ending up in Camorra. The player could get stuck in the sewers on footfall in Act 4 if Jay wasn't in the party. This is fixed. The War Council in Act 4 still failed to begin under some circumstances after the last update for some players. This is fixed. Ulfar's quest at the beginning of Act 5 will now start correctly for all players. Players who didn't receive it will receive it as soon as they load the save. Items. Vendors in Act 4 received a few new items. Ancient Plasma Rifle now correctly applies additional flat damage instead of percent damage based on wearer's intelligence bonus. Items of Commissar and Camorra were added to his personal chest. Arena vendor items can now be obtained from containers in case of their death, and Eldari weapons are added to the arms container to provide your lit something to fight with on the arena. All burning effects from St. Canactius' Ostensorium now correctly deal double damage to daemons or psychers. Arch-Strategist Mantle no longer grants dodge bonus to enemies standing in the backline combat tactics zone. Arch-Strategist Mantle now grants the correct damage percent bonus to allies standing in the rear combat tactics area. Blaster, Crucible of Torment, Archaeotech Fusion Gun, the Ashen Breath, and Fusion Gun are now correctly treated as two-handed weapons. Cruciatum Litany was given additional damage to area and burst attacks despite specifically mentioning that it should only give additional damage to single target attacks. This is fixed, now bonus applies only to single target attacks. Cursed Boots now work according to description. Dark Lance is now available from vendor in Chapter 2 and has 26 to 39 damage. Duplicated prerequisite deleted for Mesh Vest. Fixed requirements for Massive Astartes Plasma Pistol. Fixed Triumph of Faith hammer stunning permanently and not resetting the attack cooldown. Fixed various issues with Prey Scanner. Gloom's Disgrace now correctly reduces the dodge of enemies around. Hecatari Blade of Bloodthirst now correctly applies bonus damage for each negative effect. Hellbrute Horn Trophy item was modifying armor, deflection, critical damage, and melee damage incorrectly. This is fixed. Heroic Act version of Siphon Life was major psychic power instead of minor one. All Heroic Act versions of staff powers should be minor to reduce their effects on Veil. This is fixed. Losing consciousness in combat removed all stacks of Mind Killer staff effect. This is fixed. Seal of the Purifier now works correctly. Charged Shotgun now correctly applies damage over time effects. Stabilizing Gauntlets now have the same color for all characters. Staff of Blood was giving +5 toughness instead of +10. This is fixed. Staff of the Righteous Pyre did not transform the Purge Soul damage into healing when the psychic power was used on allies. This is fixed. The description of Dark Reaver item was updated for English and Russian languages. Updated and added icons for many quest items. Updated models of Ancient Terra monocle and Great Librarian glasses. Updated the gift from Falco during Jay's party. Von Valancius' cloak can now only be equipped by the Lord Captain. When playing with controller or on console, if the character had only one single consumable item in the slot, the same item was displayed above and below on the scroll bar, causing a confusion about actual number of available items. This is fixed. Wrong prerequisite deleted from Pain Grips. Mechanics. Difficulty modifiers for skill checks changed. Story, 20 to 40, Normal, 10 to 30, Core, 0 to 20, Hard, -10 to 10, Unfair, -20 to 0. Skill check modifier range for custom difficulty is changed from -30/+30 to -50/+50. This is a temporary change while we investigate the reports about incorrect or overturned check values across the game. We intend to tune these values further. Astra Militarum Commander Talent Shoulder to Shoulder did not work. This is fixed. Better to Die for the Emperor now correctly works on all archetype levels. Aurora is now reluctant to use single target attacks, giving preference to burst fire. Arch Militant no longer receives 2 stacks of versatility after every burst shot regardless of the previous attack. Argenta could pick Eldari weapon proficiency and Drukhari weapon proficiency when leveling up. This is fixed. No Filthy Xenos weaponry should be touched by the hands of the Adeptus Sororitas. Astra Militarum Commander Talent Suppression Fire reduced the amount of wounds of the character that it took. This is fixed. Blurred Locust Strategist talent was available to be taken even without combat locust ability. This is fixed. Desolation talent did not always work correctly. This is fixed. Expert Finesse Bounty Hunter talent did not work. This is fixed. Fixed incorrect calculations and damage prediction for the Lidless Stare, Held in My Gaze, and Immolate the Soul Navigator abilities. Tooltips were updated accordingly. fixed some incorrect checks in Ulfar's quest. In a particular Inquisitor shipwreck encounter, the enemies are now grouped into squads to speed up the turns. Inspirability of Master Tactician did not properly add damage, this is fixed. New psychic disciplines are now correctly filtered during level up process. Overpenetration block of Stronghold Stratagem now fully blocks overpenetration. Perilous Ways damage type was warp damage instead of direct damage, this is fixed. Psalms of Heroes Sanctic Psyker talent now works correctly. Ready to Serve Imperial World talent now works as intended. Several talents would work even if the companion with the talent was not currently in the party. This is fixed. Some abilities could become locked after out-of-order turns from enemies. This is fixed. Some psychic powers did not trigger items that should have been triggered with psychic powers. This is fixed. Desperate Measure version of Inferno counted as an attack for the limit of attacks per round. This is fixed. It should be an extra attack as all other Desperate Measures. Sometimes Heroic Acts and Desperate Measures could have an unintended AP cost. This is fixed. Tactician's ability to finish the job dealt incorrect amount of damage. This is fixed. Using Charge with Fighter talent rigorous training still reduced the fighter's MP to 0. This is fixed. Vigil Beyond Time ability no longer causes an error message under some circumstances. Pyromancy talent Sparks of the Greater Flame could in rare cases lead to game freezing. This is fixed. Locations. In the battle on Rykad Minoris, the shuttle pilot could become engaged in combat and die, making it impossible to leave the planet. This is fixed. Xenos Ruins had a spot where athletics check would only allow you to get through the obstacle in one direction, making you stuck if you had no consumables to demolish the obstacle. This is fixed. Now athletics may help you both ways. A ladder could become a death trap for Ulfar at Quetzaltemer, allowing him to go up but not down. This is fixed. After skipping a cutscene in the Outer Spiral halls, companions that haven't stayed with the party could remain in combat anyway. Companions will no longer be able to randomly disappear forever in Act 3. Exit from the pit in Act 3 no longer disappears after choosing one of the dialogue options. Fixed a bug causing the landing icon on a certain icy planet to disappear. Fixed cases when Winterscale would continuously spam Blood for the Blood God ability during the encounter on Quetzaltemer. It was impossible to leave Reaving Tempest Spire if you took the Killing Blow quest, but finished it without Morales High in the party. This is fixed. It was possible to talk to a dead soldier at the upper way. This is fixed. It's no longer possible to re-enter the Chartist vessel after Act 3. You can now reach the loot at the Shard of the Holy World. Visual. Fixed cases of NPCs clipping through each other in Act 3. Kimura Arena portals in Act 3 were always displayed as activated. This is fixed. Added a missing portrait to one of the Archons. Added animations for the Drukhari arriving to the Kimura Arena. Added critters and improved lighting at the bottomless pit. Added new visuals for Nobleborn Mantle. Added visual effects for Daemonet Dominate Person ability. First Flamer shot after changing weapons could become detached from the barrel. This is fixed. Fixed a few cases of missing textures. Fixed an animation bug in the cutscene for the final encounter, causing the enemy to teleport back and forth. Footprints are now less visible on the metallic surfaces. Heinrichs used to occupy the same spot as other NPCs on the bridge in some circumstances. This is fixed. Improved lighting at the jail planetoid. Some Necrons and Chaos Demons had death animations missing or working incorrectly. This is fixed. The Lord Captain no longer gains invisibility, becoming a pile of levitating weaponry and accessories after romantic events. The Rogue Trader no longer rides an invisible chair. The Rogue Trader will no longer get stuck on their knees after Cassia Romance event. Updated the purple hologram over the star map in Prologue. Visual improvements for Footfall Atrium in Act 4. Warp Curse visual effect no longer persists after death of the wielder. User interface. Added additional visuals for fully loaded cargo containers. Added missing description for heretical completion of the drifting void ship. Added missing illustrations in the book event from Cassia's second quest. Added some quality of life improvements for UI navigation when playing with controller. Added the formations button to the right menu panel. Added the missing art to Ulfar's book event. Fixed a case of UI elements getting stuck on the screen in space combat when playing on console or with a controller. Fixed epilogue slides formatting for wide screens. Fixed tooltip placement for widescreen when playing on console or with a controller. Improved character animations and poses on the inventory screen. Improved the multiplication display in the combat log. Times 50% was replaced by times 0.5 50%. Random or blank portraits appeared in the character window. If custom portrait files were missing, this is fixed. Role change button in co-op no longer disappears after reloading the UI or changing language. Tooltips in combat log no longer stop being displayed after opening a detailed tooltip when playing with a controller or on consoles. Tooltips no longer appear during drag and drop of items. Updated visuals for unavailable vendors in the interface. Void ship leveling UI remained on the background when opening other UI windows. This is fixed. When navigating through the cargo menu on console or with controller, it could be inconvenient to select the desired item due to the excessive scrolling. This is fixed. When playing co-op with controller, roll button in the top right corner no longer clips to the other buttons. When playing on console or with controller, controls could break when closing character info window during ability selection. This is fixed. Words from the Warrant of Trade now stay longer on the screen in the prologue. You can now scroll the talent descriptions when leveling up the character when playing with a controller or on console. You can now see the AP required to interact with an object during combat. You can now see the description of weapon abilities without equipping the weapon. Localization. Added missing localization for some UI elements in the settings menu. Fix some typos, incorrect and missing tooltips for all languages. Fix the pop-up about unfinished level up that was always displayed in English. Localization, many fixes for the Russian localization. Sound and music. Added music to the final dialogue in Pascal's quest. Added the missing sound for Frenzy ability. Added the sound effect for the lens in the encounter at the jail planetoid. Correct music now plays during mercenary character generation. Fix some cases of music stopping. In Void Ship upgrade interface, failed upgrade produced a successful upgrade sound. This is fixed. Various sound and music volume balanced improvements. Playing will become more comfortable now. Added servo motor sound to Space Marine movement. Space. Drukhari Sigil class destroyer now has a correct weapon. Previously it incorrectly had a frigate class weapon, vastly increasing the damage. The secret of the Winter Scale, Colony Project, now correctly rewards the player. Action bar during space combat could disappear in some cases. This is fixed. Added and improved rewards for some space exploration events. Colony rewards window could be impossible to close while playing with controller or on console. This is fixed. Fixed a problem with moving forward after activating swing and run ability, and no problem with placing torpedoes in the right cell will occur after using this ability. Item rewards from colony projects didn't appear on the colony reward screen if player reloaded the game before opening the colony management window. This is fixed. One of the answers didn't show up if Pascal was in party during a dialogue about an ice planet. This is fixed. Profit factor didn't increase in the dialogue with Pilgrim. This is fixed. Removed unnecessary timer from one of the space combats with Chaos ships. Space. Ships sized 1 by 2 are now correctly aligned to the grid after Warp Wave. Miscellaneous. Added the missing names of our founders to the credits and to the Shrine of Remembrance. Sorry for taking so long. If for some reason your name is still not on the list, please check that you have put it into the credits name field on our website, and it doesn't contain any trademarked or offensive names. Then contact us. Updated conviction requirements and increased conviction point gain for all branches. Alfar no longer has an unexpected twin brother in Act 3. The amount of reputation required for vendor higher level items, end of Act 2 and end of Act 4, is decreased. Companions that were sent away no longer stay on the bridge. Fix some cutscenes resulting in a black screen on skip. Fix the achievement, uncover the ice to trigger correctly. Fix the achievement for exploring the whole Coronis expanse triggering incorrectly. Opticon 22 will no longer slowly walk back and forth multiple times during the cutscene. Trying to get into the Imperium through the mall now correctly awards an achievement. And those are the patch notes and details for the Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader Update 1.0.88.